What's up, guys? It's the Agent of Power Sun here, and today I wanted to bring another top five. I ended up staying up all night, so I thought I might as well do something. And so I'm just gonna count down the top five decks that I just hate to see, or I guess I should say the bottom five decks I hate to see. Um, this isn't about archetype. That's based more on design, even though I think I brought up their playability, but the it was more um, based on design, while this is going to be based on how they're played, how you see them, in my opinion on that. And so without further ado, let's do it. Number five on this list, so I can go ahead and get it out the way, because I feel like it should make it onto everyone's top five list, is any deck that trolls. Well, not necessarily trolls, but any deck that's just like it's solitaire, I guess you could say. Burn, Burn, Countdown, which is Burn, um, and Exodia. I feel like those decks are awful for the game. They're stupid. People who play them, it, like they know what that deck is, and they know that that deck is not actually like you're not playing Yu-Gi-Oh when you play that deck, but they try and justify it, which makes me hate the decks more. The reason I put it down so low is because I mean, even though it is probably one of the biggest decks of the biggest collective group of infamous decks, you don't really see them, so it's not that big of a problem anymore. But I mean, they're still out there, and even if you just see them once, I mean, you still hate that deck. So yeah, I mean, no matter what, the deck sucks. So, number four, Six M's. The thing with Six M's is it's not irrelevant. It's not as relevant, and the deck did get hit. But my hate from Six M's comes from when they were in their prime, and they go into like three synchros, like Barkion, the Tiger thing, and then Sheehan and lock down the board and you couldn't do anything, or when they just completely OTK you and then I mean it was just one of those decks I just hated to see, which I know is crazy because I mean Dragon Rulers were worse, but I love the archetype and I actually do kind of like the way they play, but I like them separately. I mean, you can throw Dragon Rulers everywhere. Six Hands is its own deck, and it was just awful, and I just never could bring myself to play it. And then it was one of those decks that genuinely I feel made a lot of bad players think they were good. Not that I'm the best player, but that deck it just it made a lot of people feel like they were doing something special when you really weren't. And so yeah, um, that's why I hate that deck. Number three on this list is Infernities. Infernities can be summed up in one term, Luxac or Scoop, pretty much. Um, my hate for Infernities is just kind of a weird one. It comes from like seeing, like, it comes from how they look and what kind of playstyle they require to even work, or how they used to. Now I know that a lot of people are just like Soul Charge, and it just makes the deck even more ridiculous, which makes it sackier. But like you remember when it genuinely was a deck that you just put nothing but traps in, and then like the handful of Infernity monsters, and then you were just like, oh, I'm gonna sit back here and just set five fucking cards that you can't fucking deal with, and then I'm gonna hold this bitch, then I'm gonna special summon him, and I'm gonna go fucking off, and then when you try and do anything, I'm just gonna hit you with all that stupid back row. It was like, oh my god, are you serious? And then like I know there used to be problems where people would set the monsters. I never I don't think I've ever had that problem. I would hope not. I would hope people in the game were better than that, even though I know better. But yeah, it was just awful, and I couldn't stand that deck for that exact reason, because it was just like I I'm not fighting the monsters. I'm fighting all the bullshit back row that you have room for. And that's why I can't stand that deck. Number 4 on this list is going to be Dark Worlds. Yes, yes, Dark Worlds. Um, I know that they were on my list of favorite archetypes, but don't get me wrong, I love the way they're designed, but I can't stand the way they play. And I could be completely by myself on this, even though I highly doubt it, but I feel like it's a deck that pluses from going minus, and for some reason, I genuinely think that is one of the dumbest things to ever exist in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like you're going to, I mean, it's just so dumb. Like, you want to discard all of your monsters and all of your, yeah, like, and then you get to just go off because of that. Like, that's so stupid to me. Like, a deck like that should not exist. I and maybe that's not fair to say, but oh no. And it's one of those things where like the deck's been around forever, but I mean it just now got good, and it's annoying now. It's just so annoying. Um, yeah, and this is higher up on the list mainly because of that. Just mainly because it sees a lot more play than um, all the other decks named except for Infernities. And yeah, man, I just hate that deck so much. And number 1 on this list is Evil Swarms. Oh my god, this deck is so stupid, and it's sad to say that because it's not like it's original and that it's the only deck that spams level 4s. No, it's not that. It's the fact that it's the only deck that spams Ophion. And again, it's a monster that's just like, oh, you can't play. You cannot play. And that is so aggravating. Um, but and what's even worse than the fact that it just spams Ophion, which is like one of the most dickish cards in the game, is the fact that people think it's a good deck because it does that. Um, Again, this is just my opinion, but I don't feel that a deck that's just like, oh, I'm going to sit this pretty hefty beater on board and then stop you from being able to play anything that can get over it. Ho ho, I'm such a good player. This is such a good deck. Like, really? A deck where you just sit on one monster and protect is a good deck? Now, I know, everyone's gonna be like, oh, well, Bujin's do it with Yamato and Susano, but it's not the same. You can still play against Yamato and Susano. You can't play against this thing. I mean, you try and hit it with a spell or a trap card. Oh, infestation. Oh, pandemic, pandemic. Like, uh, like I said, it's a hefty beater. It's 2450, uh, which is stupid within itself. Uh, Jesus, it's a culmination of spamming a douchebag card, having douchebag protection built into the deck, a part of the archetype, and on top of that, people actually think it's a good deck. I mean, its playstyle makes it seem good, but it's genuinely not. And so just all that together makes this deck my most hated deck out of all of these. And it's the most relevant. So of course, again, more relevant, higher up on the list. And so yeah, these are my top 5 most hated decks of the format. I hope you guys like the video. If you like it, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what your top five or bottom five hated uh, decks are. And yeah, thanks for watching.